Ram V and Mike Perkins finish up their sad yet hopeful Swamp Thing odyssey as the Avatar of the Green leads his people and the humans against the Floronic Man, who intends on plunging the entire world into darkness to finally kill off all the remaining humans and plant people. Ram V expertly wraps up his quote-unquote final Swamp Thing story that had a very bittersweet ending to the character, but it's not without a literal ray of hope at the end. I enjoyed how despite everything he has seen humans do and what humans have done to him personally, Swamp Thing never gave up on them and had hope that they would evolve past this and into something more, which they eventually do. The slow reveal of the real reason the plant people are alive being that they are physical manifestations of Swamp Thing's mind and his attitudes and his doubt and ambition is fantastic and something I didn't really see coming at all, and it tied nicely into the little cutouts of Swamp Thing explaining how his people are built right down to a cellular level, and in turn how he is built and how very human he is. The only thing I didn't much care for about this whole story was really the Floronic Man and his plan with Obsidian, who I don't like the idea that he's literally just treated as an object and not an actual person. I understand why Swamp Thing's nemesis was to be involved in this and everything, but he could have just been taken out and it still would have been the awesome story about a hero looking into himself and finding hope in others. Mike Perkins did a fantastic job conveying the emotional and at times violent nature of the book, really matching Ram's beautifully haunting story with some haunting looking artwork. While I didn't much care for his story, I did enjoy Mike's design for the new plant-based Floronic Man. It was like this half plant, half Cenobite, which was very creepy and he looked great. Future State Swamp Thing issue 2 was a fantastic ending to Swamp Thing's Future State storyline, telling a beautifully tragic tale fitting for a beautifully tragic character like Swamp Thing, tackling all the hallmarks which set the character apart from other DC heroes and ending with a glimmer of hope. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10. Future State Swamp Thing issue 2 finds Swamp Thing remembering what creates his people's thick plant skin and how they can adapt to anything at the speed of thought, as his people are led by the human Venin to where Star Fortress is. Venin says that if they are to stop the makers of all of this, they need to get into the compound and they will need to fight, and luckily there are other men and women inside who will fight alongside them. Ones who, like the man, have lost loved ones and know of the darkness machine in the center of the fortress. Venin says that the people need hope though, and need to know that there is something worth fighting for. Swamp Thing says that they are humans after all, and there is always something worth fighting for. Inside the base, Obsidian's cryostasis is holding as they channel out his Doppler cooling effect. Atticus asks Woodrue if it's ready, and the Floronic Man corrects the officer, saying the thing he is talking about is Todd Rice, and that he was once the hero Obsidian. Woodrue says that he found him after the Great War, and that he was a complicated man and carried both beauty and horrors hidden within himself, yet he will be their true savior. Atticus wonders if he really will save them, and if this will be their freedom, but Floronic Man says he certainly will be. Atticus is pleased with what Woodrue has done in the short time with him, since finally they have a weapon against the plants. Woodrue knows that the man doesn't understand what he really has built and relies on an immortal man and his wisdom. Floronic Man says that there is one eternal truth, and it's that they know too much, and most creatures are content with being born, living, reproducing, and then dying, but not them, since their intelligence is beyond their natural bounds. He knows no matter how far they move away from the natural world, its fundamental truth is inevitable, and they'll always be trapped by intelligence's existential cage. As he and Atticus walk, Woodrue says that he once revered the natural world, but now he shall end it all and set them all free. The villain ponders, since they are in an area of Earth that has the longest nights, and if no one can see them, do they even exist, since he believes true freedom from existence is only in absolute darkness. Atticus's men soon rush to tell their leader that the walls have been breached by the rebels and they have come with some plant creatures. Atticus orders his men to equip incendiaries and lock down the base. As the battle begins and Swamp Thing's people fight the soldiers, as he remembers the creation of their exoskeleton, using gene expression on it yet again to make sure the bodies change to mimic human-like like skin and tissue, strengthening them so they are capable of so much more and surpass humans in every way. He questions his choice about giving them the option of violence, but he knows it would be naive to leave them defenseless. Swamp Thing smashes his way through the defenses, making it into the base where Atticus orders his men to fire a rocket launcher at them, blowing up many of the plant people breaking in. Swamp Thing survives the inferno, saying that people will never learn and they will never move beyond their violent impulses. He says that fire won't stop him, as he wonders how these people survived in the base, knowing they must have made farms and all it takes is a seed or a leaf and some sun and soil and the world will survive the humans. Swamp Thing uses the villain's own farms against them as he finds Atticus, telling him that he's only alive because the world still hopes to see its wayward children grow up for once. Getting into the base, they confront Woodrue and his experiment, as Woodrue demands that they look upon his achievements as he disrobes, showing his body has been entirely replaced with plant matter, wondering if maybe now he's worthy of Swamp Thing's love. The villain knows that even when the world grew tired of its children, he wasn't chosen, and Swamp Thing knows it's because he values humanity so little. Woodrue knows that now instead it turned to a creature that it had failed so many times before, showing a video screen which showcases Swamp Thing, the Great Destroyer, being unleashed on the world, nearly wiping out humanity. Woodrue tells the hero that he failed the people while he helped humanity, building a weapon out of obsidian, and while he told the people that he would save them, he knows he'll plunge the entire world into eternal darkness and kill everyone off. The villain says that the humans are predictable, and when he hung their elders, they rebelled, and he knew they would go searching for the Swamp Thing for help, wanting the hero to witness this all now. The villain reveals the procedure was activated the moment Swamp Thing attacked the compound, and the darkness will build and be unleashed across the world from the base. The villain continues to gloat over his victory as Swamp Thing explodes Woodrue's now plant body, returning it to the ground it once came from. With Woodrue finally dead, the elders ask if he was right about Swamp Thing killing the people, but the hero says he didn't do this. Venom asks what will happen now that the sun will be gone for years, and how will they survive? Indigo bursts into laughter as Heather doesn't want to take this answer, knowing the humans had their time on the world and they chose to ruin it, and now having survived their own destruction, they come up with yet another way to inflict violence on the world and themselves. Swamp Thing knows that while he built his people from the green and his own body, his soul is human, so he tells Heather that if he can give his body to protect the humans, he will. Heather angrily attacks him, saying that he cannot, demanding to know why they aren't worthy of his love, since they have followed him everywhere in search of the humans. Swamp Thing apologizes to the woman as he disintegrates Heather into leaves. Kala talks with Swamp Thing, asking why he's choosing the humans over them. Swamp Thing knows that they are capable of being more, and that is what it means to have a soul, to transcend what you are. He knows that Woodrue was looking for transcendence outside himself, but the other people, even though they have done terrible things, have the potential for good and can be more. The girl asks what about them, and Swamp Thing says he built them and they will always be what they are meant to be. His innocence, his doubt, his ambition, all represented by Kala, Indigo and Heather, but they cannot be anything more, and while they were perfect, the world isn't for perfect things. Indigo refuses to be taken, ripping off his arm to try and escape the disintegration, saying he chooses death over it. He rips himself apart, but he is disintegrated all the same. Indigo asks why Swamp Thing thought he could tear it all down over love and still have a soul, as the Obsidian machine activates, spewing darkness into the sky above the base as Swamp Thing does one final thing for the humans, planting himself in the soil and growing into a giant tree that breaches the darkness high in the sky. In the years that followed, humanity built a life in the roots, making homes, falling in love, birthing new humans and dying, all while telling stories of the Swamp Thing and the coming of the new dawn. When the people wondered if the stories were true, they would raise their hands and let the blossoms rain down from the darkened sky, signaling to them that it was summer. More years passed and soon Swamp Thing's body died, turning hard like stone, so he didn't know what came after him, as later on, the people emerge from the tree as the sun begins to shine on the world again. A boy asks his mother if they will ever see the Swamp Thing from her tales, and she says that all it takes is a seed or a stem, some earth, some water, and a little bit of sunlight. A little